be back with you. So let's focus on the trine between Mars and Saturn today. This is a great aspect, if you can get it, because it brings together the assertiveness and the capacity for delayed gratification, planning, looking out at the long term, having more of a mature perspective. It brings that together very, very successfully. Mars is how we act on our passions, how we deal with our anger, how we do anger, where we funnel that, how we get the job done when it comes to asserting ourselves. Saturn is how we get the job done more in the long term. So Mars is spontaneity and impulsiveness, and Saturn is delayed gratification, planning, and patience. So we're bringing these two things into a very successful relationship with the trine. So it's easy to bring that survival mechanism, Mars, and our more long-term survival mechanism, Saturn, to a relationship that can bring great success. So we act on our impulses with patience, with planning, with the ability to manage our impulses. It's a very mature mix of Mars and Saturn, and you want to look at the signs. The signs are always very important to consider, but we can't talk about all the signs in these videos, or we would be here for ever and ever for one video. Eventually we'll get to all those details as the years go by, but we're just focusing on aspects today. But signs are very important to consider because that is going to color the interpretation. Some signs are going to show a more or less impulsive Mars, and some signs are going to lend themselves to this trine even more. So there's a successfulness that comes with behaving in ways that allow for the long term to exist, where we're planning for the long term. We are working towards the long term. So we don't tend to upend our own plans with our rash behavior like we do with the difficult aspects between Mars and Saturn. We are more asserting ourselves with duty in mind, with self-respect in mind, and also with respect for others. This is a very socially successful trine to have because we have very good managerial skills. It's easy to understand the plight of other people, where they are at when it comes to their own level of success or skills, and to address them on their level. So it's easier to rise to the top. It's a very marketable trine to have because we work well with others, and there's a caring that is there in the workplace. If we do find ourselves in a position of authority, we really don't want to throw our weight around just to throw our weight around with this trine. We have a genuine compassion for those around us. So there's a very good mix of being able to get the job done and being very effective, but not being scary, not being resented, and not finding ourselves getting fired for temperamental issues. So we tend to have very good judgment with this trine, and we can say and do the right thing at the right time. Other people can seek us out for our advice. It is a very nice thread to have in the personality. It does bring maturity and some amount of conservatism in the personality as well. Look at the signs, because if Mars or Saturn are coming through more progressive or liberal signs, then that can color things a bit. But generally, this trine does lend more of a narrower scope to how we'll act on our impulses. So there is something a bit more conservative about how we'll act and what we'll act on. Mars is also our sexuality. This is not the most inventive combination to have. It is more traditional in how we'll participate in dating, going after our Venus, after our desires, because Venus is what we desire, Mars is how we act on that. And we tend to be more careful, more traditional, and go through the motions of the procedure of courting and dating, and there is more of a traditional expectation about our involvement in sexual relationships. However, you must look at everything, because I am describing one thing in the personality only, and we're going to have multiple aspects going on. So it's not unusual. In fact, it's extremely normal for humans to be multi-layered, to be complex. And we can be this way, and we can also be that way. We all have a certain amount of hypocrisy within us, all of us do. Because we're like this, we're also like that, we want this, but we also want that. And we have these myriad voices that are often in conflict or tearing against each other. This is actually not a voice that is in conflict with each other, this trine. But we will have multiple layers. Like we can have hard aspects mixed with easy aspects. And so this will just be a part of the personality. So we can have other rebellious or socially difficult things going on at the same time. But just looking at this one thing, this is a very lucky thing to have, because the way that we apply ourselves, the way that we'll use our energy and assert ourselves is overwhelmingly successful, because we assert ourselves with a plan, with forward thinking. There's not wasted energy with Mars. It's more directed towards what is most going to be obviously successful, because we're evaluating ourselves correctly. We're evaluating our time, the amount of energy. Are we going to be able to finish it? Is it within the scope of what we can do? Do we have the available resources? So there's a very good way of evaluating what it is that we're going to invest ourselves in. What is it that we're going to put our energy into? And expend, a chunk of our life force on. There's a really good way of understanding our own capabilities with this trine. So we can have lots of success with it. It does bring kind of a sort of a careful, classy, etiquette type of social involvement to things. Really not too loud, but not too shy either. There's a really good amount of social self-assertion. So we're not overwhelming, but we're not a wallflower either. So it helps us to get what we're looking for. There's a very successful trine to have, both in social situations and career situations as well. So I hope that was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com, Facebook, Instagram, other social media. I also have opened up a new subscriber option where you can join my ongoing courses, either all the courses all together in one big package, or you can join the natal course, the synastry course, or the aspects course, and there will be other courses that are being offered and rotated as well. So check out my website for that if you're looking for more info. And I will be back super soon with more cool videos. Bye.